So the first question is from Christian. Now, Christian said, when should you use a Roth 401k through your employer versus a traditional 401k? So first, I want to break this down. This is a great question, Christian. A lot of people ask this. And so I want to break this down, the difference between a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k. So with a traditional 401k, contributions are pre-tax. So they lower your taxable income today. But you pay taxes on the withdrawals in retirement. And so when you withdraw money in a traditional 401k, you're going to be paying taxes on whatever the future taxes are going to be. Now, what is the downside to that? Well, you think through this and we don't really know where taxes are going to land when we retire. And so it is much easier to pay taxes now because you know what the tax rate is going to be. Now let's look at the Roth 401k. This is where you contribute money that goes in after tax. So no upfront tax break whatsoever, but all the growth and withdrawals and retirement are tax free. Now, this is very powerful because if you put money into a Roth 401k, over time, you're going to see that the growth of your money is going to be the majority. And if the growth of your money is the majority, it is a very, very powerful account because you're not paying taxes on that growth. In fact, let's pull out the investment calculator that we have where you can check this out again. If you go to mastermoney.co/resources, you can use this investment calculator. But let's put this in right now and see exactly what this comes out. So if our contribution every single year is going to be $24,500 per year, then we want to figure out what the monthly contribution is going to be. So it's going to be $2,041.66. All right. So we're going to put $2,041.66 because that's the max you can put into a 401k every single year. And we'll put $2,041.66 into this investment calculator over the course of 30 years at a 10% rate of return. And this is absolutely incredible. You would have $4.2 million. Now, when it comes to this, the amazing part about this is the total amount that you would contribute, and this is the cool thing about this calculator, is it shows you, is $734,998, okay? That's how much money that you put into this. And the amount of money that your money earned, the interest earned is $3,476,627. So you will not pay a dime in taxes on almost $3.5 million, which is why I love the Roth 401k so much. But it is not for every single situation, and we're going to talk about why right now, okay? So that's the difference between the two, is there's no upfront tax break for the Roth 401k, but you get this long-term upside of never having to pay taxes again, and so you get this tax-free growth on that money. Now, if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket later on down the line, or you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, then you want to make sure that the Roth is your number one priority. So if you're early in your career, you expect your income to grow, this is a great time to have the Roth. Secondly, if you're in a lower tax bracket now and you anticipate being in a higher one later, then the Roth is also a great option. And if you want tax-free income in retirement and you don't want to have to worry about RMDs, you don't want to have to worry about anything else out there, then the Roth is a wonderful place to look at this because Roth 401ks reduce your overall RMD stress. And I think that's very, very important for a lot of people. Now, if you're having a really high income year, if you're having a year, Christian, where you're just sitting there and you're saying, man, I am making tons of money right now, I am paying out the wazoo in taxes, well, then a traditional 401k could be a better option for you because you get that tax deduction in this given year. Or if you expect to be in a lower tax bracket later on down the line, then maybe the traditional 401k could also be a great option. Or if you're closer to retirement and you have less time for this money to grow, then that is another difference there. Now, when in doubt, if you don't really know, you could split the difference between the two if you wanted to diversify your tax buckets some. And this also gives you flexibility on some of these accounts and when to pull them later on down the line. But if you're young and you expect your income to grow over time, I would absolutely consider the Roth 401k. It is one of my favorite accounts that are out there, one of the most powerful accounts available to us because you can get so much money into the Roth and really you can get that tax-free growth, which is what we want as much as we possibly can. There is nothing better than kicking the tax can down the line and making sure that you get some of that tax-free growth. So this is the way that I would look at this, and really, really great question. And congrats on looking at your 401k options. All right, the next question is from Carly. So in the 50-30-20 rule, does the 20% savings category include my Roth IRA contributions? My Roth IRA contributions alone already make up 20% of my monthly income. Does that count? Or is the 20% supposed to be separate savings on top of that? So this is a wonderful question. And overall, for those who don't know what the 50-30-20 rule is, this is a rule that was developed years ago it was actually developed by Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren. And within this rule, it's 50% go to your essential spending, 30% go towards fun spending and things that you want to do with your money. And then 20% goes towards wealth building, debt payoff, those types of things. Now, the key thing here when it comes to the 50-30-20 rule is I don't love it for every single scenario because the debt payoff thing, if you have high interest debt or you have a big chunk of debt, it doesn't really compensate or cover some of those areas, but it is a great rule of thumb for a lot of people to start with. So do your Roth IRA contributions count towards the 20%? They absolutely do. So the 20%, your savings rate at 20% is really to make sure that this goes towards your investments. And so any investment account will count. And this is the starting point. I want you to increase this amount over time if you can, but if you start at 20%, try to get to 25 or to 30% at some point in time. But this 100% counts towards the 20% bucket. So there is no rule that says 20% must be extra savings outside of your retirement account. That's just not a rule at all. But you just want to make sure that you have this on hand and you want to make sure that this is going towards your investments overall. Now, if your Roth IRA is hitting 20% of your income, that is an absolute great sign in something where you are crushing your investment goals. And what I would do is I would consider looking at this and saying to myself, okay, well, how can I now increase my income so that over time I can get more dollars invested? Because if you're starting at that 20%, that is absolutely fantastic. And again, the reason why we say 20% for most people out there as the minimum amount that you want to invest is because if you look at some of our savings rate charts, for example, you'll see that if you save 20% of your income, that means you can work less than 30 years of your life and be able to retire. And so 20% is the starting point for us. And then if you want to retire earlier and earlier, then I want you to bump it up to 25, 30%. Some people go to 40, 50%. We have a lot of listeners who say 50% of their income, which is incredible. And because they're pursuing financial independence or they want to retire early, that is why they increase those savings rates. So we have a couple of episodes talking about savings rate. If you have not heard those episodes, we will link them up down below in the show notes as well. But if you drastically increase your savings rate, you can change your financial life going forward. So yes, this counts towards the 20% inside of your Roth IRA. And congratulations on putting 20% in your Roth, because that is absolutely fantastic. All right, so question 3 comes from Caroline. Can you talk about what to do when your company match in your 401k comes in the form of company stock? What should you do with this? So this is a really, really good question. And for those of you out there that don't know this, some companies will offer your employer match as company stock instead of it being something that is linked directly to just dollars. And so when they do this, a lot of times the amount or the concentration of that specific stock position can grow more and more and more over time. And so you need to decide exactly what to do with this. Now, number one, the first thing I want to consider is this a company I believe in? You know better than anybody else on how well the company is doing. And so when you look at your company, and if you have access to the financials and things like that, you can actually take a look at some of this stuff and make sure that you understand how well the company is doing. For example, I know there are people out there who work for companies and they've looked at the company before in the past and they said, hey, I don't really want to own this company long term, and there's too much of my net worth tied up in a company I don't believe in. Whereas some people work for Google or Amazon or Netflix or some of these huge companies and they are okay getting this company stock match, and it helps them overall with their wealth building. So if it's a big blue chip company, a lot of times I'd be willing to keep dollars invested in there longer term, or at least a decent chunk of money. But the second thing to consider is what percentage of your portfolio does this company stock take up? Because if it starts to balloon and it starts to take up over 10, 20% of your overall portfolio or your overall asset allocation, well, that's a pretty heavy concentration into one single company or one single stock, which you also rely on your income for. And so way too many people out there, I see this with high earners all the time. They get company stock or they'll get it as bonus or compensation. And when they get that company stock, a lot of times they keep too much of their net worth in the company stock. And if it's not vested yet, or if it's not guaranteed, that's an even bigger deal overall. So you want to make sure that when company stock comes in, you keep it as a lower percentage of your asset allocation. Unless it's part of your strategy where you're going out there and trying to find companies that you think have high growth potential, that is A-okay. That is a different thing. But if you are working at a company that's been around a long time and you feel as though there's not a ton of growth potential and you're just getting this company stock over time, you don't want to have too many eggs in one basket. So what you can do is a number of different things. One is you can either sell those shares and then reinvest them into things that you believe in, like index funds and ETFs. That's option one. Number two is you can keep a portion of it. You can keep a percentage of it based on what your asset allocation is. So if you think through this and you say to yourself, okay, well, I'm okay having 10% of my asset allocation in this company stock. Well, that's A-okay. I think that's something that you could look into and decide if it makes sense for you. But if you are allowed to diversify out of this company stock, I would definitely consider it if it is not a company that you believe in. So to sum this up, if your company match has pushed your balance above that 5 to 10% range of having your money in one single individual stock, I would look and see if you can reallocate some of these funds into a different portion of your portfolio or reallocate these funds somewhere else and diversify them into either an index fund, an ETF, or whatever else you have within that 401k plan. That is going to be the best bet for most people if your concentration is getting too large. Now, again, if you are someone who is working for one of those growth companies, that's a different story. But if your concentration is getting too large in a company that you feel as though is not part of your overall plan, then just move on to the next thing if you are allowed to do that. So that's the best way to handle this stuff. And if you have any other questions on that, please shoot them over to me and I'd be happy to answer them.